Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about how much pressure can one 75-year-old accountant take. The accountant in question, of course, Allen Weisselberg. Remember who he is. He is the most loyal of all in Camp Trump. He goes back to the old man, to Trump's father, and has been the CFO forever, predates Trump himself. And he has already done a stint in Rikers Island for Trump because he wouldn't turn state's evidence. He wouldn't give evidence against Trump. He agreed, as he has to under the law, to testify truthfully in the trial against the Trump organization for tax fraud and other monkey business, and it was against him, and he went to Rikers Island for many months. As an aside, Rikers Island is a hellhole. I've toured it, and prisons and jails are no fun, but a guy like Allen Weisselberg might say, if he's convicted in the federal system and lives in a normal state, could go to a relatively quiet and secure prison. Instead, he went to Rikers Island, which really is something out of Dante. And he did his time, has come out, and now they are turning the screws on him again in two different ways. So Bragg's office, which has, indicted Trump, but obviously wants to bulk up its case, is alleging that is suggesting that they could indict him for perjury, or at least a false statement. More about that later. And insurance fraud. Now, the insurance fraud, both of these come from stuff he's already done. And the insurance fraud would be lying to an insurance company about the value of the Trump organization's real estate holdings, and saying that they'd been assessed by an independent appraiser when in fact they had not been. So that's both insurance fraud, I guess potentially even a false statement itself. And there's that, typically that would be a felony in the federal system, not clear what it would carry in the state system. And then second, he gave several interviews to the Manhattan DA. One in October 2020 was on the subject of Trump's apartment. Remember this one? Trump reports it's 3 times as big as it actually is, just a square footage lie of 30,000 feet versus 10,000 feet. And Weisselberg told the DA's office that he only found out about it when there was a report on it in Forbes magazine. That looks to have been a lie. They look to have him dead to rights on having found out about it before. So now they've approached his lawyers and said, this is what you're looking at. Now, he could try to play tough. I don't think either of these cases is necessarily open and shut. So maybe he thinks he could beat the rap, or, maybe he thinks, okay, I did 4 or 5 months in Rikers. I'll do another 1.5 years. So what that I'm 75 and might not see my family again, and this is a living hell, etc. I've been asked a couple times now on TV, what's going to happen? And the only answer you can give is, it's up to Allen Weisselberg. We can really assume he's a guy who knows where the bodies are buried. We can also assume by temperament, if he agrees to cooperate and they say, now we own you, you've got to tell us everything, and if you don't, then you are in trouble for perjury or other things, and that is the basic posture that a cooperator puts themselves in. You don't see Weisselberg kind of brashly, hiding stuff. He really knows a lot of information. But will he basically live out his life in loyalty to Trump? After, by the way, he said he went to trial in the criminal case the Trump organization totally blamed everything on him. Now, maybe he's a very mature guy and understands that it's the logical thing for them to have done in the trial, but they basically said it was all Weisselberg. So certainly they didn't treat him nicely in return for his almost preternatural loyalty to them. So, we'll see. To Bragg himself, by the way, he wants to shore up his case. Remember, we were waiting when he was going to announce to know what will this second felony. They have him dead to rights on having made misstatements of the income involving Stormy Daniels, but to take it from a misdemeanor to a felony, you need another crime, and he's to date been I don't want to say cagey because it's his legal entitlement. He said, I'll tell you later, and I can tell you later, even at trial. But obviously, they're not confident in a single theory. Trump filed what's called a bill of particulars saying, tell me more about it so I can prepare my defense. And they said in response, you've got enough to prepare your defense. It's going to be one of these several things, and get used to it. And there's going to be a hearing on that motion in court on Tuesday, May 23rd, tomorrow as I tape this. And there's some suggestion that Trump himself will show up virtually, which is possible because he won't have to do the nightmare and axiom number one. Trump can't testify because he would just be, physically or virtually present. But anyway, the Bragg indictment from the start has been pretty clear that it could use some bolstering, and the obvious person to give it is Allen Weisselberg, and the obvious way to get it is by putting the screws to him, and the obvious question it raises is, how much pressure can one heretofore loyal 75-year-old accountant take? Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.